There are some movies we just can't picture anyone else in certain roles. However, sometimes other big-name actors were considered and they eventually had to say no. Sometimes it's due to scheduling. They didn't want to do it, or a deal couldn't be made. It happens all the time in Hollywood. They would later go on to regret their decisions.
For those of you who love ad-free viewing and free things, we're excited to announce the Premium Network. The Premium gets you early access to videos from Screen Rant, CBR, The Gamer, and many other great channels. Literally thousands of videos in one place with ad-free browsing. How sweet is that? Sign up for free at The Premium by clicking the link to start binge-watching videos from your favorite channels.
Don't forget to click that subscribe button below, and if you haven't already done so, join our notification squad. This way you can stay up to date on other great content. Can you guess which feature film these emojis are referencing? Stay tuned to find out shortly following this video. Josh Hartnett as Batman. Batman Begins. Did you know that Josh Hartnett had the opportunity to become Batman? Not George Clooney era Batman, not Val Kilmer era Batman, but the best era Batman, as most people would agree, the Christopher Nolan era. No joke. Before Christian Bale was cast in the massive iconic role as the Caped Crusader, Christopher approached a young Hartnett as a potential candidate for his Batman reboot. We're sure he's still punching himself over this career move. Back then, Hartnett was considered an up-and-comer in Hollywood, and this role could have catapulted him into more movies. Apparently, he thought he had a lot of career prospects when he decided to turn the role down. His career later took a dive bomb, as we know, and now he exists in a place where Hollywood doesn't know exactly what to do with him. Hartnett was quoted saying he said no because he wanted to spend more time with friends and family. Understandable, but come on, it's freaking Batman. How many of these opportunities come knocking at your door frequently? He also said that he was focusing on not being pigeonholed and was scared of being considered only one thing as an actor. With how big the Nolan era Batman became, it probably wouldn't have been so bad to be known as Batman.
Listen, I really need to click. If you don't shut your mouth, I will kill you.
Christian Bale as James Bond. Casino Royale. Can you believe that Christian Bale had the opportunity to play James Bond? Crazy, right? Just imagine him being in two major franchises, starring as Batman and 007. It's pretty mind-boggling. According to Bale's biography, The Inside Story of the Darkest Batman, Bale's former publicist stated that the actor wasn't interested in being committed to a franchise that was very British. This was right after Pierce Brosnan's contract as Bond was finished. Bale thought that James Bond represented every despicable stereotype about England and British actors. Plus, he said he had already played a serial killer. What he said makes sense, but still, his career probably would have skyrocketed even more, and he could have put his own spin on 007 just as he did with Batman. Now, while Craig has done a phenomenal job with the franchise, Bale could have possibly done the same. It's hard to say for sure, but given his track record and his ability as an actor, he could have done something special. Casino Royale ended up grossing over $167 million at the box office. Do you think if Bale decided to be Bond, this number would have been higher? Are you satisfied with his decision and happy Craig is the new face of 007? Al Pacino as Han Solo. Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. Al Pacino is a terrific actor. He's widely known for his roles in the Godfather trilogy and Scarface. He's also very selective when it comes to the movies he takes on. The biggest part he passed on was playing Han Solo in Star Wars. That's right, you almost would have seen him next to Chewie flying the infamous Millennium Falcon. Pacino also passed up parts in Apocalypse Now, The Usual Suspects, and the leading role in Pretty Woman. Now, all of these movies have done well, but none better than Star Wars. When he was offered the role of Han Solo, apparently it was a time when he was offered everything. He was also very confused and didn't understand the script when he read it. He jokingly described back in 1975 that it was another missed opportunity. However, he was not the only other candidate considered before declining, and Harrison Ford took the part. There was Jack Nicholson, Robert De Niro, Burt Reynolds, and James Caan. Now, Pacino may have regretted not taking the role and seen it as a missed opportunity, but the movie would have felt much different if he were in it. He seems to be better suited for crime movies, and it's hard to imagine him in the cockpit of the Falcon. Will Smith as Neo, The Matrix. As we all know, Will Smith is pretty notorious for starring in sci-fi action movies. What you may not have known is that he turned down the role of Neo in The Matrix. Instead, the actor decided to play in the Wild Wild West. Yeehaw! Great choice, Smith. Now, while you may be shaking your head in disbelief at that thought, Smith told Wired he was okay with his decision. He watched Keanu's performance and said he would have messed it up. At that point in his career, he stated he wasn't smart enough as an actor to portray the role, whereas Keanu was. Smith didn't think he could have been as stoic as Reeves was. What if he did take on the role, though? He literally had the chance to change Hollywood forever. While Keanu hasn't done a whole lot of movies since The Matrix, Smith has, and the chance to play Neo could have skyrocketed his career even further. It would have been groundbreaking. It may have even opened the door for more black leads in films. The Matrix was the fifth highest grossing film at the domestic box office when it was released in 1999, with $171 million. Looking back now, Smith probably wishes he would have taken the role.
A wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins.
Ian McKellen as Dumbledore, Harry Potter. Ian McKellen turned down the role of Albus Dumbledore, everyone's favorite headmaster of Hogwarts, after Richard Harris died. McKellen said he was asked if he wished to play Dumbledore, but because he was playing Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings, he declined. He also had personal reasons for turning it down. Apparently one of the last things Richard Harris said publicly was how dreadful of an actor he thought McKellen was. McKellen thought it would not have been appropriate for him to take over the part. He felt it would have been unfair. Now, let's think for a minute that he did take the part. Can you imagine McKellen being Dumbledore and Gandalf? Pretty cool to imagine, right? Both are wise, have long white beards, and are just both great characters. Oh, and they both can perform magic. Plus, The Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter are two of the most notable franchises to date. It would have been epic. Not to mention one of the most lucrative, high-profile offers. Michael Gambon, of course, went on to play Dumbledore for the rest of the Potter movies and did a great job, but it would have been really cool if it was McKellen. Harrison Ford as Dr. Alan Grant, Jurassic Park. We all remember the first time we watched Jurassic Park. The suspense, the tension, the awesome acting, and of course, the dinosaurs. Dr. Alan Grant was almost played by someone other than Sam Neill. Do you know who it was? None other than Harrison Ford. They are well known for their partnership filming Star Wars and Indiana Jones together. Spielberg apparently offered him the role during a 30th anniversary screening of Raiders of the Lost Ark in Los Angeles. Ford quickly changed the conversation and later declined for some strange reason. What do you think? Would Harrison Ford made Jurassic Park even better had he taken the role instead of Sam Neill? It's tough to say, but a lot of you would probably say yes. It would have made a lot of sense since Spielberg worked with Ford on Indiana Jones and Star Wars. It would have been great continuity to go with Ford. Jurassic Park ended up grossing over $356 million on an estimated budget of $63 million. Even though it came out in 1993, the special effects are still astounding to this day and can still terrify audiences who have never seen the movie. It will forever be a classic.
Yes, it's true. There's a child, and the child is my daughter. And her father abandoned us, leaving us flat. Now she lives with an innkeeper man and his wife, and I pay for the child. What's the matter with that?
Anne Hathaway as Tiffany, Silver Linings Playbook. The role of Tiffany, played by Jennifer Lawrence in David O. Russell's 2012 Silver Linings Playbook, was almost given to Anne Hathaway. Mark Wahlberg was also going to play in the movie instead of Bradley Cooper. Harvey Weinstein thought she was marvelous, and she was his choice. He loved her. According to Weinstein, later on, Hathaway and David O. Russell had a few issues on set. They both had creative differences, and they couldn't see eye to eye. Once Hathaway dropped out, it didn't take long for Weinstein to find her replacement. Weinstein referred to Lawrence as an amazing creature who is a brilliant actress and so much fun. Jennifer Lawrence gave an awesome performance, as she usually does in everything she plays, and she won an Oscar for Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role. Hathaway did pretty well for herself after walking away, and snagged an Oscar for herself, winning Best Supporting Actress for her work in Les Miserables. Silver Linings Playbook also took home the Oscar for Best Picture, and Bradley Cooper won the Oscar for Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role. It was indeed a great night for David O. Russell and cast. Nicolas Cage as the Green Goblin, Spider-Man. When Spider-Man was released in 2002, it was the first big comic book movie of that caliber. We finally got to see a new version of the web shooter on the big screen, played by Tobey Maguire. In a CNN interview, Nicolas Cage once addressed a number of roles he turned down, including the lead in The Wrestler, which starred Mickey Rourke, and also the Green Goblin in Spider-Man. Could you see Nick Cage playing the Green Goblin instead of Willem Dafoe? The movie was met with mixed reviews, but perhaps Cage could have added the little extra spark that it needed. Cage is Hollywood's wild animal, and his roles border on insanity. He's made a number of films, some good, some bad, but no matter what, his performances are always insane. Willem Dafoe's version of the crazy Spider-Man villain, the Green Goblin, was good, and he was pretty crazy himself. Now imagine Nicolas Cage in the role. He could have reached an even crazier level than Dafoe did. The Green Goblin could have enhanced the movie even more. Remember the scene in the movie where Norman Osborn first transforms and destroys his own lab? Imagine that same scene if it was Cage instead. Can you see it? Do you think he would have been a better choice? Angelina Jolie as Ryan Stone, Gravity. According to Variety, Angelina Jolie was originally set to play the lead role of Ryan Stone in Alfonso Cuarón's Oscar winner. However, she passed on the role in the summer of 2010 because a deal couldn't be worked out, leaving the studio and Cuarón back at square one. Eventually, Sandra Bullock ended up taking over the role. Robert Downey Jr. was up for the male lead in early 2010 before they settled on George Clooney. The film ended up making a whopping $55.6 million at the box office, but it could have been much different if things swayed a different way, given the way it was originally conceived. It almost didn't get made at all. After his 2006 success with Children of Men, Universal Pictures decided to pair up with Charon to create the space epic Gravity. Universal became worried about how to market a film like Gravity and eventually backed out of the project. Then in comes Warner Brothers, who worked with Alfonso on Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and took a chance on a film that no one else would. The film ended up snagging 7 Oscars in 2014, as it was a very visually stunning movie and had great sound. Jolie probably wishes she would have signed on after all.
There's always been a quiet place to harbor you and me. Our love is like a ship on the ocean.
Matt Damon as Harvey Dent, Batman: The Dark Knight. Hollywood good guy Matt Damon was almost cast as Two-Face Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight instead of Aaron Eckhart. Damon told MTV he had to turn down the iconic role because of filming conflicts. He said it had to do with scheduling, but he never spoke with Christopher Nolan. He had no qualms with whom Nolan finally chose as the villain. He didn't think anyone could have done a better job than Eckhart. Damon stated that Aaron is a great actor, so the movie didn't suffer from it. Every once in a while, you get an acting opportunity and you can't do it. But come on, we bet he wishes he did do it. It would have been an awesome role for him in a movie that made over $533 million at the box office and will always be one of the greatest films ever made. It definitely would have been interesting seeing Damon in the role as Two-Face. He's always portrayed as the good guy in films, so it definitely would have been a little different to see him go from good to bad. Do you think he could have pulled off the role, or was he right about Eckhart being the right guy? Well, what do you think of the list we made for you? It's hard sometimes to think about which actors or actresses could have been in certain roles. Were there any that surprised you? Also, the answer to the Emoji Movie is... well, did you get it right? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to check out our playlist. Thank you for watching our video.